Welcome to today's episode, the podcast where we discuss the most recent installments of a different series every show. It's Friday, March 7th, the 66th day of the year, National Flapjack Day. Running Point is a sports comedy on Netflix. It's about a reformed party girl who is left in charge of her family's LA-based pro basketball team, the Waves, where she has to manage contracts, the media, her 3 siblings and 1 half-sibling, a love life. I am right that there's 3 siblings because I just saw Justin Theroux, I saw Baxter from Bajillion Dollar Properties, and I saw the guy from the Mick.
Yeah, there's also Jackie, who's the half-brother.
Yes, Fabrizio Guido plays Jackie Moreno, the younger half-brother recently discovered by the Gordon siblings. It's funny because Kate Hudson, main character, plays Isla Gordon, takes over the basketball team. Her half-brother is Wyatt Russell. And Wyatt Russell is Kurt Russell's son, and her mom is Goldie Hawn. It's like very famous family, so it's not as big a leap as most people would take to take over the Gordon's family in this, because she's from pop culture royalty into actual basketball royalty.
And they bring up nepotism in the TV series.
Yes, it's a dysfunctional family, but it's not exactly Succession. They don't hate each other by any merit.
I felt like it was a parody of Succession, because at the very beginning, Sandy and Ness, the brothers, talk about playing her or trying to get her out so that they can run the team.
Right, and I know Justin Theroux is also like a wild card. He's in rehab right now. He lost the power to control the team when he got arrested.
He was driving recklessly, and he was under the influence. You even see him doing drugs. You see the scene that gets him arrested in prison.
Yeah, but after the hostile takeover in the first episode, where it's not successful, she's able to get a deal with Sephora to be the brand ambassador of the team.
And they decide that they're going to keep Travis Bugg, played by Chet Hanks, as the controversial player, because they were wondering if they were going to trade him or not, what they were going to do with him.
Yeah, quite a strange cast. But when you say that it's a parody of Succession, that always reminds me of Righteous Gemstones. However, these feel like a tamer version of those characters. Righteous Gemstones, everybody I think of in that is just an insane person I would never want to spend any time with, while the people here seem like they would be at least somewhat nice. I think that's why they included Jackie coming into the family as opposed to having him against the family.
Yeah, I would say I would make the characters, I think, I would compare them to Arrested Development characters, where it's like they might act crazy or they might be really stupid in some instances, but you're always going to kind of be on their side, especially with Isla, because she just felt like the female version of Michael Bluth, because she narrates.
People have said that Drew Tarver looks a little bit like Michael Bluth's character in Arrested Development, as well as the narration that Isla has. And let's just go through the other comparisons. There's Ted Lasso, because it's in a sports comedy. There's the other
Throwback. Right?
Well, no, because those are basketball centric, and so I was saving those till the end. You have Ted Lasso, again, sports comedy. You have the other two, which is where Baxter, what's his real name?
Drew Tarver.
Drew Tarver is actually from. You have the Mick, where the other guy is actually from. Righteous Gemstones, we said Nobody Wants This is a big one, and I actually have a game for that, because Netflix, it feels like it literally...
Well, episode 5, it felt like they took a storyline and almost made it word for word recreation with Isla and her fiance.
Except the fiance isn't a rabbi.
Yeah, but fiance Lev, who is Jewish though, and he needs her to convert in order for them to get married, because their engagement has been pushed off for the longest time.
You also have Harley Quinn, which has the narration. Kaylee Cuoco and Kate Hudson, they seem very similar. They look very similar. And then you have the English teacher I would throw in there, because I know that Drew Tarver plays a gay character.
Sandy's storyline, it feels the same as Brian Jordan Alvarez, his storyline in English teacher. So yeah, I think Nobody Wants This in English teacher. You can definitely put that into this show.
And then you say basketball specific shows. You already mentioned Mr. Throwback, Steph Curry's show. They were actually able to use his team though. In that case, in this, they had to make up the team, the Los Angeles Waves.
Los Angeles
Waves. When they played
the
Phoenix, it wasn't the Phoenix Suns. It was just Phoenix whatever. So they didn't get the rights to that. It reminds me of like video games when you're playing a baseball game and only MLB The Show is able to use the actual MLB players. Everything else has to make up teams and players. And Swagger, Winning Time, Mr. Throwback, and Clipped were the 4 basketball shows I think that we've at least addressed during this
Yeah.
podcast run. Hustle, I want to throw in there, that Adam Sandler movie, because they actually used the same casting director
Yeah, so
for that.
if you think about like Space Jam or something like Hustle, they had a lot of actual NBA cameos. And while this show has a ton of cameos, I was really happy to see that they don't have many from like the actual NBA. Like there's not a lot of players that actually show up for it.
Does it need it though? Because it feels like there's a lot happening despite it. Because like we just compared it to all those other shows, so it's a sports comedy, but it's also a romance, but it's also like a in and out of drama. Chet Hanks is his own
Chet
part of the
Hanks.
show.
So
He's
so
a
this
drug
is
addict as well, right?
one of the things I was happiest about is that it's actually the fact that they did typecast because Drew
Right.
Tarver is playing Drew Tarver in anything you've ever seen him before. You said the other two bajillion dollar properties, and then the main character
So
Max Greenfield. Also he's playing kind of his same character from New Girl, and then Chet Hanks is just playing straight up Chet Hanks.
I don't like repeating interviews, but the way that they got Chet Hanks was that the lady from Hustle, the one who was the casting director, said, "You're looking for a Chet Hanks type, right?" And they said, "No, we're looking for Chet Hanks." So right on point with what you're saying. Let's compare this to Nobody Wants This the Most, because I want to see, it's a easy game that you'll probably be able to ace because you've seen both series, but that's why I want to play it.
Right.
This is a 10-episode comedy on Netflix. Which one is it?
Well, the Running Point.
And
Oh, well, and Nobody Wants This. I
yes,
was
it's
wondering
both
if
of them. That was supposed to be the easiest
I was
question.
wondering if Nobody Wants This. I thought it was 8 episodes possibly.
Okay,
But, yeah.
this had characters playing basketball.
Well, I mean, both of them did, I think.
Okay,
I
when
believe
was that Nobody Wants This?
I think Adrian Brody is
Adrian
part.
Brody? It's just Winning Time.
Wait,
Are you confusing
wait,
the
wait,
series
I
that we're
meant
talking
Adam
about?
Brody.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Adam Brody. We were going to talk about Adrian Brody because of his recent Oscar speech, but also his Winning Time character.
Yeah,
It's
but
kind of
I meant Adam Brody. In Nobody Wants This, he has a basketball team that he plays with I think his brother or something like that. Yeah.
I was looking for a fact to bring in with the Veep guy. It didn't come into fruition, but he is the sibling in that character or in that show. This had Taylor Swift's direct permission for something.
Well, they needed it, I think, for Running Point with Love Story because Drew Tarver or
He loves to sing.
Sandy, he has a cringeworthy performance in episode 9 where he tries to win back his boyfriend.
I
So,
know he's a regular on Comedy Bang Bang. He does a lot of songs, so he's not unfamiliar with it,
Yeah.
right? Which was announced first between the two shows?
Oh, well, that's difficult. I would go with maybe Running Point.
And you're right. It was greenlit straight to order, or straight to, that's what it's called, right?
Yeah, straight to series
Straight
order.
to series order in 2021. And this was, Nobody Wants This was only done in 2023.
Mhm.
So a few years later. But the reason it was brought straight to order is because the backstory behind how the show was created. So remember in Winning Time, who was the main character in that? That's a real test. But you did like the show. It was Jerry Buss, who was the Lakers,
Yeah, was that John C. Reilly? Was he the main character?
This is the
Right.
Will Ferrell wanted to play Jerry Buss in the HBO series, but then it went to John C. Reilly, and that led to the rift between
Right.
Ferrell and Adam McKay. That show went 2 seasons, kind of gave you the 80s, 90s feel of the Lakers.
I
and
mean, it
its
was shot like
rise
it,
to a
too.
dynasty.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was shot like using that type of
And
camera
I think
filter.
Brody was one of your favorite characters in that.
Yeah.
I'm pushing that because people hated his Oscar speech. Anyways, he came off really smug, apparently. I haven't even seen it. But so Jeannie Buss, who this character, Isla, is based off of, who actually went and pitched the idea of, I should have a show about myself. In a way, she worked with Mindy Kaling to make it, but she is the daughter. And she took over the franchise from Jerry Buss.
Oh, wow, I
So
didn't
it's
know
like a
that.
direct predecessor, but not really, you know?
I mean, the tones of the shows are very different. With Winning Time, it was supposed to be surreal. This is just a plain out comedy.
Yeah, but in Winning Time, there was a lot of stuff that wouldn't get past today, you know?
Right.
A lot more sexism, a lot more racism, a lot more they were talking about Isla. People hated her dad, right?
Yeah.
That is a direct thing to a lot of people probably didn't like Jerry Buss in the way he came across. That's why Will Ferrell wanted to play him, because he was kind of a dick,
Mhm.
you know? Yeah. So if you look at the cover of Running Point, and you look at the cover of Jerry Buss's kid, Jeannie Buss's book, which is called Laker Girl, they look almost identical.
Yeah, because I mean, I think that the poster for Running Point is just Kate Hudson sitting on a desk
Yes.
with like a deflated basketball.
Yeah, and go ahead and search it up, Laker Girl book.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
they are wearing something that's different, but yeah, it's basically the same thing.
Okay. So which of these shows, because we're back to the game, which of the shows between Nobody Wants This and Running Point had a cameo with one of the lead significant others?
Oh, well, this one because Brenda Song plays the agent to Isla in this, and then Macaulay Culkin, yeah, he shows up randomly out of nowhere. He's,
Yeah.
like, such an insignificant, character in it,
She's
but
is she
episode
he's a
9.
heckler, right?
Yeah.
In the stands?
He's telling actually, it's during the love story song that Drew Tarver is playing or Sandy is playing to win back his boyfriend because they know that Billie Eilish is supposed to play the US, anthem, but she doesn't actually show up in the show.
You got it half right because Leighton Meester did appear in Nobody Wants This, and that's Adam
I
Brody's
didn't
wife.
remember that. Okay.
And Adam Brody appeared in Leighton Meester's show later on in Good
Good
Cop,
cop,
Bad Cop.
bad cop, yeah.
Right. So they're just, I was expecting to see that Kristen Bell's husband also showed up in Nobody Wants This, but apparently not. Apparently
Yeah.
Dax and Adam Brody do not get along. No, I don't know that. Which has a Jewish love interest that asks the main character to convert, but the main character sort of gets cold feet.
Okay, again, both, but I
Yes.
think Nobody Wants It did it better because what this show just tried to like cram it into one episode. That's kind of what the whole point of Nobody Wants This is about.
Yeah. But do you think that works because they were able to define it to one or confine it to that one episode? Did you like that one episode?
Yeah, in fact, the first half of the season, I think, is when the show was at its strongest.
So funniest?
Funniest, but also just it didn't focus as much on the drama. I feel like the second half of the season, when it focused on the drama, that's really when it just did not work.
Okay. Oh, it didn't work. Like
Yeah.
it goes all the way off the deep
Yeah.
end. And then the last one I have for you is this show got sued.
This show got sued?
Yeah. Which of this show between the two of them got sued?
Nobody Wants This?
No, it was this one. It was Running Point. So apparently the Waves are already a basketball team, which I would assume like most names that you just come up with on a whim are
Right.
already a sports team somewhere. But it's a Malibu-based Christian university, and they sued Netflix and Warner Bros., accusing them of misappropriation of the university's brand. Not only did they have a similar, I guess, color scheme, but the number of Chet Hanks in the show is the same number as their mascot. Now, this was like almost immediately dismissed when it was brought to the case, but they did it in the last week, and so it was kind of funny news. Netflix kind of dunked on them afterwards by just being like, "Yeah, this is nothing to be scared of. There's absolutely no connection here." But I did find that funny. There's not a lot of times that you see a school really stick up for its mascot.
Yeah.
And so that's cool.
Well,
What-
it's also because Travis Bug in this show has such like a problem with drugs. In fact, even in episode 9, he's brought to rehab, so maybe they didn't like having
is he
the
going to the same
connection.
rehab as the brother? Does he go to the same rehab that Justin Theroux's character is at?
No, because by the end of the series, which is when Travis Bug goes to rehab, Justin Theroux is out. In fact, he takes over the team. That's the cliffhanger at the end of season
He
1.
takes over the team.
Yeah, he gets his job back.
How?
Yeah.
How does he do that? Is
Well-
that just in the details? Or?
Yeah. I mean, because he basically gave it to Isla just for the time that he was going to be away, and then he came.
Because I know
back.
it is revealed halfway through that so he saw her as the least threatening because she was once a Playboy, not bunny, but like poser for one of the magazines, and so he just thought that when he stepped back in, he'd be able to do it a lot easier. But halfway through the season, had they won? I'm sorry, but I'm jumping to the end. Had they won the playoffs, right?
They won the playoffs, yeah.
Or
but
had they won the ultimate
they
champion?
lost the championship.
Yes. Then he wouldn't have been able to step back in? Or is it because of that he has the in?
I don't know, right? It was such like a thing that they threw in at the very end that I think you can maybe draw your own interpretation.
I just would have thought the public outcry of seeing someone come in there in their first year and win the entire thing, it would be really hard to kick them out without...
It definitely didn't help.
Yes,
Yeah.
It didn't help. So to be a Laker fan right now, you might actually be looking at a team that goes all the way with Luka and LeBron. So I think it's out of all the years they could have come out with this, if they'd done it a couple of years ago, it wouldn't have worked. But
Yeah.
this year is like the perfect time with all the news.
One of the problems with the show is that while it is funny, it's the most surface level talk. Like even Mr. Throwback, I remember, had like lingo and they were actually talking about sports. Here, it's like you can tell it's not really any. They don't like dive in deep and have any like real lingo about the NBA.
You've seen The Sex Lives of College Girls, right?
Yeah, that's also produced by Mindy Kaling.
And
right?
so is Velma. or was created or something by her. And my question is, what you just said with your point, does that apply to those shows as well? Like this dialogue, is it that like I wouldn't imagine in the sex lives of college girls, but I haven't
Yeah.
seen it. Like whether or not they're that deep with there's not that much depth with these
No, I
characters.
mean, there isn't, but like I'm saying, with, like, Mr. Throwback, you wouldn't assume that there was, but
Okay.
they did have it where they were, like, talking about the stadiums and how much money they were going to use. Here, they're just usually talking about trades or, like, how much their team is under 500 by.
And it's crazy how they're able to turn it around just by like the last couple episodes.
Yeah, the pacing got, like, really jarring after a while because they spent more time focused on, like, full episode worried about if the team was going to make it into the playoffs. They spent more time on that than the actual championship
Hmm.
or, like, worrying about the championship because you actually do see some of the games, which I did like about the series.
What Friday Night Lights isk?
It's not like BMS where you just see it from the outside and they never show you the actual football games.
Favorite episode, favorite character, favorite moments.
Again, I think that, like, the first 5 or 6 episodes because, like we said,
Oh, you
it's 10
can't pick one.
episodes, but yeah, I don't have one. I think that my favorite character is probably Scott MacArthur, or in the show, he goes by the name
Ness.
Ness.
Okay.
Ness, because, again, he's playing he was my favorite character in the Mick, so
Uh-huh.
basically seeing him play that same character here.
He seems a little bit more sensitive here than he did in the Mick. In the Mick, he was like, he wasn't afraid of getting shot. It feels like this character was a little bit of a pansy.
A lot of the jokes is just, yeah, how kind of emotional he is.
Mhm.
He's one of the only people crying when they decide to accept Jackie into the group.
Jackie, it feels like, is the closest to a BMS character, though, because he has that whole, like, line of, cheerleaders that he's, like, sleeping with on the side, and then he gets some sexually transmitted
Yeah,
disease, I
so I
forget.
mean, the problem I think with the show is that there are a lot of storylines that just felt unneeded or that didn't get any expansion. You kind of mentioned one already, but like episode 6, we learn Cam. He's leaking things to the press about Isla and her being in charge, and it seems like it's going to be a big deal in the show. It's never talked about again
Well, he's
past
afraid
episode
of how
6.
successful she's being, so he's trying to pull her back a few
No,
steps,
and
right?
I thought that there was an interesting storyline, but they don't mention it again. Like, she never figures out by the end of the season that he was the leak for it.
Mhm.
Also, Lev, because, yeah, Isla's marriage that she's about to have, their relationship goes
I mean, the
south.
fact that they introduced the coach to being a love interest to her, I felt like instantly made it so that Max Greenfeld's character was just gonna be left alone.
Yeah, well, that's
Like,
that's the problem, though. Lev doesn't give Isla a clear answer by the end of the season as if he's coming back or not. You just kind of have to wait, as he says. And then Jackie's storyline, all the sex that he has doesn't really even like it was just kind of a one-off joke, but they kept it for so many episodes that it seemed like it was actually going to lead somewhere.
also, at the very beginning, it felt like they were setting him up because they had his cousin, right, defending him, and when he was about to sign for
Yes.
$2 million of an NDA to pretend he was not their brother, it felt like they were making it so it would be him versus his family, and that there would be a lot of struggle between them, like, once they made him the assistant, he kinda just took that role and
Yeah.
didn't
And he
he
just he
stayed
just
there the whole
stays there
season,
for the
didn't
rest of
get
the
better
season.
really at it.
And
He
and
yeah.
I think that also, kinda talking about the back end of the show, I said it got a lot more dramatic. There's just things that the show tried to, like, really make you care about that I just didn't, whether it be Travis going to rehab, Lev leaving Isla, or Ness feeling left out about the family, or sorry, the Jackie being left out
I
about the family. It just seemed like it was stuff that I didn't care about. I wanted it to go back to the funniness that the first, like, 5 episodes had.
You're not alone because like, there were places that called it generic. Telegraph said it was less charming than Legally Blonde. Vulture and Telegraph said that it sort of felt like an AI script, and I think Guardian gave it, like, 2 stars. Maybe it's just the British people don't understand the humor they were going for. A lot of places also gave it good reviews. People said Chet Hanks was a breakout star in Netflix's, running point. They weren't expecting him to be as good. I personally liked when I saw Rob Hubel show up,
Yeah,
as
right.
just a cameo, Angry Agent.
Like I said, if you know comedies, there are a lot of people that make appearances that you're going to be happy about. I also one pro for the show is that I like that Isla takes over a basketball team. Like that's the thing that their family cherishes the most. Because some of the times, or especially with like Succession, it was just a business. I thought that a basketball team was kind of unique.
Or what was that Norwegian series where it was just like salmon? where it was like the family
Oh,
Billionaire Island.
Billionaire Island, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's fun when it's something that you can participate in as an audience member. I
And you
agree
don't
with
have
you.
to like basketball to like the series.
Right. Were you surprised when you saw that Ike Barinholtz's name kept on showing up?
No, because he wrote the show, right?
Well, there were like 4 writers. Mindy Kaling, I already said, was attached. The original showrunner kind of dropped out after the pilot. I think her name's Elaine Ko. She's still shown as one of the creators, though. And then Ike Barinholtz and this other guy jumped aboard. They've been working on a lot of projects together for a long time. I saw that Alan Barinholtz, his father from Jury Duty, who they both won
Mhm.
a lot of money on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire back in the 25th season for anybody who wants to check that out. But he shows up in sort of a cameo
Episode
appearance.
2, yeah.
Yeah, what does he play? He's not the
I
judge here.
He's not a judge, but I think he's playing like a lawyer type position. I think they are making kind of a callback
So
to
you
it.
talk about nepotism. That's kind of reverse nepotism, right? Like you use your kid to then bring your dad aboard. That's some Jake Paul shit. No, but I think that the overall tone of it leaves you with what rating?
I would give the first half 7 out of 10. I'd give the last half 5 out of 10. So putting it together, I will give the series a 6 out of 10.
That's a 7.5 on IMDb, and I think on Metacritic it's like a 65%, which isn't bad. Decider said stream it. You know, it's if you like Nobody Wants This, I feel like you can say you'll probably like this too.
It's in the same tone, I think also as like the Charlie Puth show. Yeah.
Well, that one was a little bit more absurd, ridiculous. I mean, like they were a little less tied to reality with that one.
Yes, but
Yes.
I mean, this one
And there
does.
were less
This
like
this has some
surprising
absurd humor
cameos.
though.
Like you said it yourself, this is a good cast, solid, funny. Like you'll see a children's hospital guy show up every once in a while, but or girl, but you won't see the same thing as like John Legend pop in
Yeah,
there
no,
for
that's
two
true, yeah.
seconds. And there weren't famous basketball players. I'm sure they could have got them, but they wanted to save that budget for that Taylor Swift song. So overall, though, you would recommend it to some people?
Yeah, it gets a passing grade.
All right. Well, then thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode, which is going to be Daredevil. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.